Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Area 51.
Hello, folks. What's up, Rahul? What's happening?
Quite a lot. After that first episode with Atul, we decided to follow the same theme and find another great person who has been very silently advocating for immigration change and reform in the background. It's very easy for us to sit and complain about everything that's not going right in our lives, right? I think that's something that as human beings...
I mean, we've got pretty good at it, both of us.
We've got pretty good at it, yeah. It's just, hey, let's just meet a friend and just sit and vent and cry and whine about everything that's not going right. But hey, everyone has the ability to actually go about and try to bring about change, because change, like we said in the last episode, it begins with us, right? But I would say a fair percentage of the folks here, they haven't been doing that, which is why folks like Anuj, who's our guest today, are extremely hard to find and are extremely valuable to the immigration community. Welcome to the episode, Anuj.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me. I love the work you guys been doing, spreading awareness or having in general conversations. Learned a lot through the podcast you have been doing, and not just learned, but getting entertained, right? So it's like immigration is kind of like a dry topic, but you guys keep it entertained. So that's great.
Thanks, Anuj. Thank you.
I just want a disclaimer. Yeah, we may or may not have paid Anuj to talk about us like that. But thank you so much, Anuj. But the spotlight's on you today, because it's like Rahul mentioned, we talk a lot about these things, but you've been doing something phenomenal the past year. And I would say, I honestly feel that there isn't enough spotlight on what you're doing. And so, when we reached out to you to bring you on for this episode, and you got back to us and you were very interested, both me and Rahul, we are super delighted that we could share your story, because we feel it's really, really important what you're doing. And, more people need to be aware of that and hopefully, be a part of that change as well, because it's really inspirational.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're one of the few people who are actually walking the talk. So
literally.
Literally. So it's very heartwarming to see someone out there just relentlessly campaigning for change. So yeah, let's get into what you're doing, Anuj. Before we go into where you began, how you came to US, let's just give everyone an idea of what it is that you're working on right now and how you're advocating for immigration reform.
Okay, yeah. So what I have been doing for the past year, so at the beginning of this year, I had this idea to travel to all the 50 states to spread the awareness on this campaign or on this issue we are having of the green card backlog. And not just the backlog, but the backlog created just because of the discrimination based on someone is born. And that was very less awareness on this issue. And I thought that we need more awareness on this issue. So I started traveling to all the 50 states. That I started on the 4th of March, 2023. And my goal was to go to all the 50 states to spread the awareness on this issue. And I have traveled to 49 so far. And I'm already at my 50th state. The actual thing I'm doing is on 2nd March, but I'm already at my 50th state. So my goal is about to be done to travel to all the 50 states to spread awareness on this issue.
That's phenomenal, right? Such a 50 states.
I mean, imagine how many American citizens might have covered all 50 states. Probably less than 0.1% or something like that. I don't know. I'd say it's not more than thousands, right? And Anuj here covered that.
49 states.
Yeah.
Guys, you'd probably think that the 50th state is like Hawaii or Alaska or something, but it's actually Texas. And he's already there. And in a few days, he's going to knock out the 50th state too.
I know, yeah. So when people think that if I have few states left, they think that it must be the farthest. But when I plan accordingly, right? That if I am finishing this around March, which state it would be good to do it in March, right? So,
smart.
And a lot of people, if they want to join me, if I'm doing it in Alaska, that might be very challenging. But if Texas is kind of in center, we have a lot of folks who are directly affected in Texas. And it's in Austin where there are a lot of headquarters or a lot of the big tech companies are there, right there, right? So
Well, that's actually brilliant. I never thought about it. If the 50th state was Alaska, it'd probably just be Anuj.
Yeah.
Frozen.
Frozen, yeah.
Yeah, for our audience, I want to provide some more larger context on what exactly this green card backlog issue is. Because I'd say, like, I think Anuj and Rahul will agree with me. Because the three of us, are so well in the system that we are very clear on what this problem is, and it's a big problem. But outside of that, folks probably aren't even aware of what this issue is. So the first thing is that in the US immigration system, there are only 140,000 immigrant visas or green cards issued per year for employment-based immigration. So even today, the US issues 1 million green cards a year, but only 140,000 of those are for employment-based immigrant visas. The rest are all, either asylum cases, diversity visas, or like 65% of green cards are even today on family-based petitions. That is, you have some existing family member and, they will petition for a green card for you. Yep. Now, in the 140,000 green cards a year, this again is split based on the number of countries that petition. And there's a quota that no country can take more than 7% of this particular value at the max in a particular year. Now, when you do the math, that's probably like 9,000 green cards a year for a particular country is the max that can be issued. Now, you might think that's the end of it, but no, there's again another subdivision where green cards, even for employment-based, are split in 5 categories. There's EB1, EB2, EB3, EB4, and EB5. EB4 green cards are for religious workers. So you have got 9,000 green cards that split 5 ways equally for a particular country. And so EB4 is for religious workers. That's a different category. EB5 is for investor visas from a particular country. That is, you make an investment of at least $1 million, create 10 jobs, and then you get a green card. So that's pretty much out of the picture, like for most folks. And then you come to actual employment-based categories. That's EB1, EB2, and EB3. And most Indians who move to the US for jobs come on either an EB2 or EB3. And because India is such a large country, you just have more people coming from India and China. And because of that, so now you can imagine 9,000 split 5 ways, it's probably like 2,500, 2,600 green cards per year issued in these 2 categories, EB2 and EB3.
Actually, the preference is not an equal split. You have a higher preference for EB1 and then it trickles down. Okay. So it's not an equal split. And when a lot of people look at the visa bulletin, right, and they see, we're in 2013 now, I'll get it in 7 years. I don't have the heart to tell them it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like every year you go forward by 1 year. You can imagine how many are there, right? You got I think the backlog number was 1 million plus. And you've got let's assume 3,000, 4,000 being optimistic for an EB2, right? You can imagine the rate at which we're going to go. At some points, I even considered being a priest just so that I can get it faster. I thought, listen.
You have a lot of faith, Rahul.
Went to a temple, guys. This was, I think it was in Texas, if I don't remember. Went to a temple. The priest had a green card within a few years. He was telling me about it. His son was studying in Atlanta. And I was like, wow.
And it's good for them, but the people who are also doing important job, right? That the priests are important to make the society better, but it's a lot of the folks who are doing important, necessary work, like doctors, engineers, who are treating people, making different things, securing things, those are important as well, and those should be treated fairly as well, right?
Equally, so that's not exactly.
Yeah, I think the right word is fairly. That is missing, unfortunately.
See, and that's the issue. So you have close to 1 million primarily Indian folks stuck in this queue because the backlog is so huge, because they just issue a fixed number per year. And these are folks who have an approved green card petition.
Yeah.
And so you can say that, let's say somebody who's born in Finland and somebody who's born in India, they both come to the US with the same job, same pay, same employer, and the employer files for an employment-based green card petition. The person from Norway would probably take 2 years to get their green card. The person from India may never get it in their lifetime today. And
Yeah.
that is the green card backlog problem. And again, the thing is, because this is affecting only a specific group of people just on the basis of their country of birth, it's also unknown to a lot of folks that there is an issue itself like this. And, to bring awareness is what Anuj is doing this phenomenal work of
Yep.
literally going to all the 50 states and bringing about awareness. So,
And just
yeah.
to sum up what Sanjay said in like one line, if you're from India, it's going to take at least 100 years to get a green card, as per the recent report published by the Cato Institute, if on an EB2 or an EB3. So
Great thing, Sanjay. You explained it very well, that what the backlog is. But let's say that someone who has to never go through immigration, if you want to understand why there is backlog in general and why there is like backlog for one particular country disproportionately, think about it that, like, let's say that anyone who can submit a application for driving license, right? That's unlimited, that how many people can submit for driving license. Then they can have all the security checks at different level, that they pass the driving test, they pass the vision test, and then they have like learner's license, right? Every can do that. But then actual license, how many people get, it's limited. So application submission is unlimited, but then how many people can get each year? It's limited. Then it's also like restricted based on which county you are from. So if like the county, which is like big county, then those people will have to wait insane amount of time. So that is happening, that the application, immigration petition in the United States doesn't have country cap or a quota. So anyone can submit a immigration petition, but not everyone can green card. That quota is limited, and then it is restricted based on the country of birth. And one thing you said, that a lot of people are coming from India, but it's kind of true, but kind of not true. It's because that this immigration, right, that it's employment based, is sponsored by employer. So kind of the need for this Indian workers is high. And that's why they are getting sponsored more, right? So it's like kind of like a lot of, they might have like from other countries, they want to come here, but they are like probably not qualified or something. So that's why it's like the backlog is there, and why it's like disproportionate amount from, you will see that from like couple of countries. It's like because the need from worker from this country or the skills which United States has shortage of, some countries produce more than others.
So just to add on to that, Anuj, also another thing you should look at is the inherent base population of the country itself, right? Two of the countries that have the largest backlogs are also the two of the countries that have the largest populations in the world, India and China.
So it's like crazy that it's the country cap is same regardless for India or Vatican City, which...
Exactly. If you look at the report, India, China, Mexico, and Philippines, right? These are the four that are always pretty much singled out. I mean, it's a no-brainer, guys. I mean, if you have... I just don't understand why it's so difficult when... If you want to keep percentage-based, keep a particular percentage of your base population. At least as a minimum that change that we could expect. But if you just keep the same thing, like a tiny island versus a massive country like India, obviously there's going to be more people from that particular place.
A lot of countries' population is less than the 9,800 quota annually, right? Which one country has. So like the entire country can migrate to United States in single.
So let's go back to your origins, Anuj. Like, can you tell us a little bit about your background? Like, when did you move to US? What visa did you do? Could you give us a little bit more info?
So I came to United States in fall 2009 for my master's, and been working on CPD, OPD since 2010. Been on work visa, I guess, since 2013. So been to United States almost for 15 years now. I'm working in IT right now as a DevOps engineer. And this is like one of the things interesting is that the United States probably is the only developed country where you can live legally for 15 years, but still you don't have path to permanent residency.
Oh, you still don't have your green card yet, Anuj?
No, I don't. I'm on work visa and I'm in
15 years, huh?
15 years. Yeah, it's 15 years so far, but I don't know when I will ever get a green card, right?
And Sanjay, what's more crazy in that statement is not the fact that Anuj's been here for 15 years. It's the fact that he has a day job along with traveling to like 50 states.
That's the thing. And that's what makes what you're doing so amazing. Like, and I'm always appreciative of that. Like, you can imagine that this is a democratic country where somebody who is a tax paying person who is living here, working here for the past 15 years, and there's no way in sight for this person to have permanent residency here because the system is designed that way. Like, it's so broken and so messed up. Just on the basis, like, you would think, for example, in a country like the United Kingdom or, anywhere in Europe or Australia, the idea was hey, whoever applies first for your green card, they're in the queue. When the slots are available, you assign that green card or permanent residency to them. But that is not the case in the United States. It depends on where you were born from. And that's obviously something you cannot change, right? You cannot change where you're born from.
Right,
like,
yeah.
Right? It's
legally.
That's important, right?
Yeah. Rahul and I have researched changing our birth certificates as well.
But it's the funny thing is, not anyone would do it, but it's like a lot of people figure out that it's based on the country of birth when they already are in the United States. Otherwise, you would never thought that it's like could be prioritized based on the country of birth.
Yeah.
And yes, but yeah, you were saying that, yeah, it's very challenging, but I wanted to do something. Like if I do something small, one of the reason I did is that this issue, which is like so crucial right now, I think in many ways it's not getting attention it deserves.
Yep.
And I was like doing something small would not cut it. I think that I needed to do something significant to bring the attention on this issue, which it deserves. So even though it's challenging, I thought that it needed to be done,
What was that turning point, Anuj? I'm sure you said 15 years, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you started this in 2023. Did something happen, or is it just years of frustration building up inside that just came out like this? Like, what is that seed or that turning point that made you say that I have to do this and this is what I'm going to do?
Right. So I guess the turning point was that I was like, during the Eagle Act was getting debated in December 2022, I was like listening to that debate on the House floor, and a lot of even like the people who are policymakers, they are like describing this issue intentionally or unintentionally with like a lot of misinformation. And I was like, this is so wrong. And the reason why they are getting away with like saying something which is like not true is because like not many people know what this issue is. So I was like, even the people who are like directly impacted, right, that I came to know that why Indians has to wait forever, much later than like when I come to the United States, right? So I thought that something needed to be done one thing is to increase the awareness on this issue among the people who are directly impacted, but also to Americans who can vote, right? Because like a lot of the people who are affected by this issue, they cannot vote. So it's like the people who can change the policymakers, they need to be educated. So there is like more pressure on the policymaker to take this issue seriously. But I also wanted to do something to inspire others that you don't need to wait for some big corporations to take action for you. There is a lot you can do on your own. So there was like two major reasons was turning point that I was at that point where I can do it.
Sanjay, you remember our episode 3?
Yeah.
The one where we actually did a whole episode on this, Anuj, on the Eagle Act of 2022.
Oh yeah, I listened to that episode.
We were so close.
Yep, you went through the Eagle Act is like been there for like 10 years or so, and you went through the history, and in 2022 it was like so close, right?
That, Sanjay and I were talking about it too. Like we heard the debate, right? And we were just filled with disbelief at some of the arguments that they were using.
Some of the representatives were making, yeah.
And I'm just like, how? You guys are making the policy and you don't know it. How?
So to talk about one in particular, is that like the bill was getting debated is about like green cards for employment base, right? And they were like talking about H-1B, and the bill is not even about H-1B. And they're like, people are abusing H-1B, but like, if your people are abusing fixed H-1B, that would be a separate bill. But this bill is about totally different thing,
And I remember some representatives completely talking about like the border issues and all of that. It's got nothing to do with this. I can understand that H-1B green card, there's some sort of connection. It's employment. What does the border got to do with anything?
That happened recently, right? That like I wrote to one of the congressmen recently. I was talking about employment-based green card, and like response I got is that, yeah, I heard about like people, everyone is complaining about border and I haven't mentioned a border once. So it's
I think you know what we should do, guys? As part of the change in the Eagle Act, we should put in a clause saying that if this has been passed, every Indian national volunteer 5 hours at the border once a month.
Given the frustrations we are facing, I think people would be even okay with something like that. But
I'll move there for a year, dude, if I have to.
right.
You'll have to pay us also. We'll just volunteer.
well, forget that. Rahul and I will record our podcast from the border for a year. We'll do it for the community.
From Eagle Pass.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And it's like you mentioned, Anuj. The fact is, this bill that wants to fix this problem has been coming in Congress for almost a decade now. It's not something new. It's not a problem that's very recent. It's only come in the past couple of years or something. The problem is very well known by the folks who are affected by it. There's been bills that's been coming up in Congress that aims to fix it, but it's never passed. And the main reason, at least what we feel, is that people are not aware of the problem. And our representatives don't have as much as an incentive to fix it because they're not getting enough calls or emails or whatever it is to understand that, oh, this is a big problem. We need to fix this. And I wanted to clarify something that Anuj mentioned earlier. You don't need to be a citizen to be a part of the lawmaking process in the United States. Anybody who is living here as a resident, is a tax-paying resident, you have the right to contact your representatives and senators and reach out and tell them, hey, I am facing this issue. I want this. And that is how it works in democracy. So you don't need to be a citizen to be involved in this process. And that's what, Anuj is literally walking the talk. Like, he's doing it by bringing more awareness. He himself being on a work visa, he has a full-time day job and he's managed to cover all 50 states in exactly a year's time just to bring out awareness for this particular issue.
Yeah, right. So you are like, based on where you are living, you have a representative, and it's not your representative only if you are a citizen, right? That as long as you are living in that district, that's your representative. You can reach out. And one thing you might not know, that some people think that you can only reach out to your particular representative. But when the issue is a federal issue, you can reach out to any representative, right? But the first priority should be your particular one.
And going back to your journey about, what you're doing. So you've covered 49 states in this time. Do you have any interesting stories, about as you're trying to do this, like in different states, what you came? Did you talk to other people who are not aware of the situation? We'd love to hear something more.
So yeah, one thing great about is that now I have like talked to people in all the 50 states, right? That to people who are directly impacted, but mostly like I protested outside of the state capital in all the states so far, and got chance to talk to like a lot of people from all the 50 states, right? Red, blue, all the 50 states. And I haven't like ran into anyone who says that this is fair thing when I explain to them, and they are like shocked that like the people who are like doctors and engineers who has been doing everything right, they are like completely shocked that why is that happening,
There's a lack of information or awareness to these people.
Yes, most of the people, they don't know about this issue. One thing is that some people I have talked to, they have heard about the country cap, but when they think about country cap, it's like they think about like people getting into the country, but they don't know that the people who are already here, they are impacted by it. So that's like very shocking to them. But talking about like, let's say that one of the good thing about going to all the 50 states is like I get to meet like a lot of people who are like directly impacted by this, as we call it, people in the backlog. And the interesting story is that one time we protested, I guess, in California, and then went for a dinner, and we were having a conversation about this. And someone was saying that, okay, like, let's say that if someone is giving me a green card, or let's say that 100,000, right? They're like, I would do it today, right at the moment. And what is the crazy about that is that mostly this is not about green card, right? That because they get the freedom to change the job easily, freedom to travel in and out of the country easily. And there are like a lot of the people that made me think that how important this is. that they are willing to spend 100,000, and why then there are like not that many people coming out to do protests, or like why they are like not taking action. And if you think about that, is that if it is guaranteed, then they are like willing to spend 100,000. But this is like they think that if it is not guaranteed or something, so that is like stopping people, and that's like needs to change. That what you think that okay, this issue is very important and people need to come out and do something. Maybe like not protest in all the 50 states, but in whichever way you can take action, right? So yeah, that was interesting conversation.
I think as the years go by, living as an immigrant here, the optimism kind of gets beaten out of you. You know? So when you said that if it's not a guaranteed sure shot thing, a lot of people are like, why bother, right? It's
right. A
lot of folks have just accepted or just given up on that change could ever happen. So the concept of even trying to make a difference is so alien.
Right, and I understand, because like the job we have is already pretty demanding. Then we have a family and all the relationship and all the social life we need to maintain. So it's like kind of like important, but like then it gets, we don't have time and energy and resources to do it, you know. But I guess we need to find some way to figure it out, like accent in whatever way we can.
You're right. It's just like you very rightly said, we can't vote. Only thing we can do is reach out to folks and just keep at it until something changes. I did have one question though for you.
Sure.
I have been thinking about this ever since you mentioned. How much money have you spent till now in your own?
I haven't kept a tab on how much money I have spent, right? Otherwise, that would have made me like really consider should I continue this or not. I tried to spend as less as I could, but one of the things at the beginning of this, when I was thinking about doing it, right, that all the change requires some kind of sacrifice, right? You need to either sacrifice your time, sacrifice your energy, money, and all those sacrifice. And like, let's say that if we just wait that people will do the right thing, even though it's wrong, there are like a lot of people benefiting because it's wrong, right? That they might be getting some benefits. So the change requires some kind of sacrifice. And I was like, how important this issue is for me to spend this much money. And you cannot put the cost on this, right? That people who are already more than 1 million people are in backlog, going through all these struggles just based on their country of birth, which is unfair. And it's like, there are like a lot of people, more people are coming because there is no country cap when it comes to student visa and work visa. So there are like, they are taking the best of the best students and workers, regardless of where they come from. But then their growth is dependent on where they are born. And to fix this thing, what could the price you put on it, right? So I was thinking in that way, right? That I know that it would be challenging financially, energy-wise, and manage all that. But I thought that it's like worth it to bring the attention on this issue, and it's important to fix it, right? So I guess that I try to focus on that more than like how much I am spending.
Damn, more power to you, Anuj. Seriously.
Literally, you're carrying the backs of 1 million plus people, right, by yourself. And it takes a lot to do something like that. I mean, Rahul and I, when we started this, like we felt that, we're not doing a lot. We were doing a little bit, trying to get more awarenesses, but you've like taken it at least 100 levels higher. and we just hope that people hearing your story, this get inspired to do, whatever little act. Like you don't need to do anything like what Anuj does, but just take your time, talk to anybody who doesn't know what the system is, like explain how bad this is. And
on that note, right, that we don't have to do exactly what I'm doing or you guys are doing, right? That I like traveling even before that. So like I picked up that something which I could enjoy, which can help this cause, right? That you guys are two friends, which you like just like talking, hanging out, and that like, I hope you do. But it's like that this is something we could enjoy having this conversation around this issue and which can help to bring more awareness on this issue. So we don't have to all do exactly the same thing, but we all have to do something that figure out how you can contribute towards this cause.
Absolutely. Something like what you're doing, what Vidyut did for the movie, what Atul's doing. Everyone's got their own unique branding. And just keep at it, guys. You're all making waves in your own lanes. Eventually, the destination is the same. We're just traveling different paths. And I think we should just keep at it. until we reach that, everyone has a green card.
So a lot of the things, this conversation we are having, I feel like when I came to the United States, I'm not sure there were resources, but I wasn't familiar with it. So a lot of the things we didn't know when we came to the United States. One thing we didn't know, we were thinking that if we file our green card or our company sponsors our green card 1 year late, then we will get our green card 1 year late. We didn't know that if it is 1 year late, we might get 10 years late, right? And the reason we didn't know that because we didn't have this resources or this conversation were not normal, and even the backlog wasn't that bad back in the days. But now it is. It is out of control now, and we need to have this more of this,
Seriously, right? I mean, ever since I've come here, it's same for every immigrant. It's always been, you're just chasing something. Before it was that first internship, then, your OPT. Right, I just need the H1B lottery and I'm set. Okay, now what's next? Oh, green card. Yeah. Now I'm like, okay, now I just need to survive until it becomes current, You're constantly chasing something here.
And that's the thing. It never ends, right? It's not like, oh, okay, after this I'm done. I don't need to worry about, I can switch jobs whenever I want. I'm not tied to a particular employer. Even if I get a better paying job or better, more satisfying profile, I can move it, not stuck to trying to convince employers. Because that's the funny part as well. For an employer to do a green card petition for somebody, like what Anuj is doing for the million plus people, a company probably spends another $30,000 to $40,000 just in legal fees. Yeah. And they literally have to prove with working with the Department of Labor and submitting paperwork that they've not found a qualified permanent resident or a US citizen to do the job that this person is doing. And only once they get that seal of approval is when you are allowed to petition for the immigrant visa or the green card petition. And these folks have those approved petitions. That means they have been living, working in the US. The US government has said, yes, you guys are needed here to do your jobs. And we are approving that, and they are still not able to get a green card. So it's so chaotic. Like, it's so crazy.
We should take a snippet and send it before the next debate for Eagle Act, just so that they can't use these. They can't use these reasons. Every time someone says we're stealing jobs, I just roll my eyes, dude, and I'm just suppressing all my emotions. Keep calm. Don't burst out.
So one thing is there is argument that we are stealing that job. One thing we have to prove, right, that no one was qualified for this job first, but we also have to get the prevailing wage. That another argument is that it's a cheap labor, but whenever there is a job opening, they have to get the prevailing wage that we are not getting underpaid and we are not doing the job for less money than it should be, right? So that's also cleared, right?
They have checks in place for all the problems that they're stating now.
And not just that, there's this weird sort of messaging around the fact that folks who are on H1B visas are very low paid workers. The median H1B wage is $118,000 a year.
Wow. Yeah.
And the median American income is $62,000 a year. So that means the median low paid worker gets paid double the amount of a typical American, resident. And the fact that the messaging around that, you're bringing cheaper labor from outside of the US is wrong. It's not factually correct.
And again, we said this in multiple episodes, right? Guys, no company is crazy to go through the trouble, the extra expense, that factor of chance that you might get your H1B or you might not leave the company, whatever it is, if they had a readily available candidate.
Exactly.
They're hey guys, here's a citizen who you can hire right away and can start tomorrow. Here's someone who'll probably take 3-4 years. They're I'm excited. Let's just go with the other guy, right? Because I like taking risks. No one does that.
And spending $50,000 in legal fees or whatever.
No, it's crazy, guys. It's this is what gets me, It's we're like hamsters, in that big hamster wheel that's stationary in place. Whether it is immigration conversations, immigration reform, it's all the same place. We're just running out that thing. So what's next on the agenda, Anuj? Okay, you've got your advocacy effort on March 2nd, and you would knock out the 50th state. What's next on the agenda for you? You're going to take a break? You're going to jump right into the next thing you've planned?
So one thing on the agenda was that to protest in all the 50 states, but also record videos in all the 50 states and upload those on YouTube. So that I have done for 13 states. I have already uploaded, but then rest of the states are still remaining. And the reason why I wanted to do that the protest shouldn't be a one-day thing, that let's say that if people don't watch all the 50 states video, when they hear about this, they might watch that one particular video from their state, right? So I have recorded in all the 50 states, but I haven't got the time to edit in all the 50 states. So that I have still pending. Once I'm done with this, then also, all the other advocacy effort that then I focused on one side of like raising the awareness, but also like reaching out to the members of the Congress, so that I am going to increase when I have like more time when I'm done with the traveling. I have some other plans, the major plans, which I'm still like contemplating that should I implement those or not, but those would be like big plans. Hopefully the bills which are in the Congress, they get passed and I don't have to implement those, but we need to be prepared, right? So I'm still like some of the other things I'm thinking about, I'm still contemplating, and I will like calibrate based on what I have learn in this traveling in the 50 states.
After chatting with you, I'm sure you're going to get like PTSD from not traveling. You're just going to be like, oh my God, I'm not going anywhere.
At least like for 6 months, I'm like done with all my travel bug, so gonna relax and think about all these things, maybe like spend more time on editing and like
nice.
What I can do from like one place.
Sanjay, you want to like talk about the effort to actually help folks reach out to folks, their congressmen?
Right now, there are like, I want to provide some context. There are actually 2 bills in Congress, one in the House and one in the Senate, that actually focuses on fixing this problem by changing the law. And the House version is HR 6542, the Immigration Visa Efficiency and Security Act. It's a very bipartisan resolution so far. It's got, I think, 20 different co-sponsors and almost an equal number of Republicans and Democrats who are co-sponsoring it. So this is not something that's very partisan to only one particular thing. Everyone wants to fix this, and it pretty much addresses increasing the annual per country cap for family immigrant visas and also eliminate the cap for employment base. So this change is just to remove the cap for employment based petition because it affects this large group of people, and everything else remains. It's not like going for massive immigration reform. The problem here is that even though a bill may be introduced in the House or the Senate, there's no incentive for representatives to push it and pass it into a law unless folks who are listening to this and anybody else who's made aware of it let their representatives know. And the same bill in a similar form is S3291, the Eagle Act of 2023. It's just been recently introduced. It's not gained as much popularity as the House one, but as a listener, you can do your part. In fact, we've done something to make your life easier, because we found that finding out who your representative is based on where you live, going to their website, or finding a phone number or an email address to where you can send them a petition to say, hey, I want you to pass this. And you can do that as a regular tax-paying resident of that place. You do not need to be a permanent resident or a citizen to do this. All you need to do is reach out to them. We've built a campaign using something called ResistBot, where all you need to do is text a message to a particular number and it will sign a letter on your behalf that we have drafted and send it out to your representative. And that includes the House and the Senate. All you need to provide is your first name, last name, and your mailing address. And it will figure out who is your representative and send that letter out. And believe me, it takes care of all of it on the back end. The software is pretty cool. We have not built that. Like we just discovered it, and a lot of really smart folks have used it for raising awareness and getting bills passed. And we'll provide more details about it in our show notes. But we urge everybody to, do your part. It's literally the same thing as retweeting or forwarding a message to your friends on WhatsApp. That's all the effort it takes. You do not need to find who your representative is, call them, talk to them. We have already done the drafting of the letter for you. We have taken care of everything. It'll take 30 seconds of your time to send this. And it's free. You can send it through iMessage, WhatsApp, Telegram, any particular form that you want.
We've essentially removed all the thinking that you guys need to do. All the efforts or extra couple of steps that you guys need to do to locate stuff, all removed. It's very simple.
What you guys describe sounds amazing. What I have noticed is that sometimes it's like very challenging to find the email address of the representative, and it's like easier to find their contact number. But a lot of people don't have time to contact the reps during the day. But email, you can do it anytime. So if this is like happening, that you don't even have to look for these things, it will just do it. That sounds great, right? That this is like everyone can do it, and I think that everyone should do it, right?
You don't have to travel to 50 states like
right,
Anuj.
yeah.
You can do your bit, and it goes a long way if you're doing this.
Exactly. Like Anuj has done phenomenal effort around this, and we feel like, this is probably the little thing you can do on your part to make that effort not go to waste, because it's a very big deal. It affects all of us. It affects 1 million plus people. And if you are able to do something like this and get attention, like let me put it this way, if 10,000 people send this to your representatives, this bill is done, it's passed, it's a guarantee. The fact that there are 1 million plus people and we haven't been able to get such a tiny number to talk to your representatives is all that takes to push it to the finish line, and that helps solve a lot of problems. And so do your part.
And to add on to that, this is another plea to the folks who have actually crossed this hurdle. You've gotten the green card, have become citizens. You have more power than we do right now. You have the ability to vote, right?
Yep.
So your voice carries more weight and is better heard than us. Just because you've crossed through, don't forget about the rest of us. Keep the door open for us so that we are also able to come through, and we will pass it on to the folks who are coming after us. So another request and plea to the folks who have actually gone the way that we have, gotten their citizenship and everything. Advocate a little more for the immigration reform. It's not your problem anymore, but for sure it's your community's problem. Yep. And it'll definitely help all of us.
Yeah, to add on to that, like whenever I'm protesting in person or like whenever I'm talking to the member of the Congress, we say that, there are like more than 1 million people are affecting because of this issue, and they are like, where are those people, right? So like we assume that they know everything, but they don't. They have like 1,000 things on their plate. This is big issue for us, but they are dealing with like tons of issue. If they don't hear about this issue, then it's out of their minds. So we need to reach out in more numbers. And this is like the easiest way. It doesn't require a lot of time. It's just amazing. So I think that I encourage everyone to do it, right? So the more number of people reach out, I think the better it would be.
On that note, thanks a lot for coming on the show, Anuj. And thanks for everything you're doing. We, on behalf of the immigrant community, we'd like to thank you because you're definitely making huge change just by your advocacy efforts. So good luck for your March 2nd final stop at Austin. We hope your voice is heard. And again, thanks for everything you're doing.
No, thanks for having me. And I love the work you are doing, fostering conversation around this issue and educating people, and keep doing what you are doing. And hopefully we will have Taylor Swift one day on this issue,
Yes.
So you should have kept your last stop in Kansas City, should have.
Wait, doesn't she live in Rhode Island or something?
No, she's dating Travis Kelce from Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh,
right?
yes.
Guys, oh my God.
Oh my God.
That would be awesome. That would if that happens, that will end all the immigration related issue, right? Yeah. So don't give up on that.
So folks who follow us on Twitter know this, because I mostly tweet from that account, and at least probably once or twice a week I tweet at Taylor Swift asking her to come on an episode, to talk about this. Because if you've got the Swifties involved, that's it. I think it's pretty much done. So.
And she does these random things which no one expected, so you never know.
Yeah. Or Kanye.
Oh, yeah.
I think we just lost half of our audience.
Yeah, we just lost the Swifties. I'm sorry, it was a joke. Yeah.
The Swifties are gone, Rahul. That's it.
Well, that was a great conversation, Sanjay. Very inspiring.
Amazing, right?
On his own money, on his own dime.
The selflessness aspect of that.
Not just for himself, for the whole community. It's
pretty awesome. You have to appreciate it. And that's what got us to reach out to him. We need to get this person's story out. It's very important that it be told.
Think about it, right? Even if you do, assuming one state takes $500, which is, I think, a reasonable thing, right? That's 50 states is $25,000.
Yeah.
$25,000 in advocacy.
Yeah.
Would all of us do it? I don't know. We are okay paying $100,000, like you said, for our own green card. But are we okay paying $25,000 for upliftment of the entire community? I don't know the answer to that question.
That's the thing. And then he's done it.
He's done it.
With a full-time day job at the same time.
And a family and other commitments, all the things that we claim that stop us from going out there full-time in doing advocacy. So
exactly.
We're not taking shots at anyone. It's not like we have done anything also. We have also not done all this. But it's just times like this where I'm just very inspired and hopeful. That hope is something that's like optimism is also kind of beaten out. But it's just when I meet folks like this, when I see the work that they've done and I talk about it, I just feel very inspired. And if I can take away at least 10% or 20%, and I hope as our listeners, you guys can do the same, I think we would have made a difference. Or I think Anuj's work would have made a difference. So in our own little way, let's try to contribute towards bringing about some immigration reform. This campaign that we've created is a great small step in that right direction. Please don't stop there. Keep an eye out. See how you can contribute. See what you can do. Is other folks you can talk about? Can you write emails? Can you meet folks in person? And just keep at it. Not telling you guys to like dedicate 50 hours a week for something like this. No, a couple of hours a month goes a long way, because right now I feel like we're not even doing that much. So,
and that's the thing, like, even reaching out to your representatives today, like if you're not sure you have great writing skills, use ChatGPT. It's free. Like you can create a letter, you just throw content at it and it'll write it out for you, and you can just send that. That's all it takes. So, every day we are finding ways. In fact, we are the people building these tools. We are building these technologies. It's us, it's immigrants who are building these tools to make our lives easier. And use the tools that you have built. Don't just build them out. Like it helps all of us in our own little ways. Obviously, not everyone can do what Anuj has done, but
just your state is enough, Go down there, talk to the folks, talk about your problems. Going by what Anuj said, if the question is, where are these people stuck by the backlog? That means we have not made our problems heard. So let them know about us. Let them know what we're going through. And you never know, could bring about a change.
See, that's one of the big things that struck to me, right? The fact that we know there's 1 million plus people, but a representative in Congress is not aware of it. That means not enough people are reaching out to them. So, I agree.
On that note, thanks for tuning in. We hope to keep bringing you folks and stories and content like this for future episodes. Please check out that campaign that we're going to put. You can find out about it through our potential LinkedIn post, Twitter, Instagram, even the show notes, and also our website, a51podcast.com. If you want to get in touch with us, again, you can use any of these platforms that I've said. If you have a story, if you have immigration problems and you want to talk through, we're not lawyers. We will not be able to give you legal advice, but I think we know a little bit enough to at least point you in the right direction. So don't hesitate. We are here to help you. And pass it on if you find someone else in need of help. Take care, guys. Talk to you all in the next episode. Thank you.
See you, folks.